Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, beautiful light warriors, old souls, and evolving beings. Well, I just looked at my clock to start this. It was 1:11, just like the beautiful number of subscribers. Some people will get a kick out of that. All right, so today I am going to dive deep into a topic, and it's going to be lengthy. So if this takes you a couple days to get through all the material, that's totally fine. I'm going to record as long as I possibly can to get through the material that I have set up because I will be on the move starting on Friday and therefore just want to leave you with some materials to think about, to work on, and to balance and blend. If you're a light worker, you probably have worked through most of this already, and this could be a great tool to use on those around you who haven't quite figured out how psychological manipulation, advertising, all of those things play on our minds day to day. Because in order to evolve, we all have to step out of our mind and into our hearts. And that's the easiest fast track to get through ascension. So I'm going to start back in about 1957. Leon Festinger um, created a book and used the term cognitive dissonance. And I have not read that book, but a portion of it, according to Psychology Today, which I will laugh with you on in a minute, said that it was all about doomsday cults, etc. And I just want to share with you that Psychology Today was a magazine, it's probably still out, I don't know, that was more like an entertainment type magazine. And it would talk about all the new things that were in fashion, being talked about. And believe it or not, that entire magazine is just pure programming. It was programming to divide and sort mental disabilities, divide and sort mental disabilities, not unite us, understanding that if we dropped out of our mind and thinking and went into our heart, all of this would be resolved in a flash. So be careful about the magazines and the information that you read. It's also where, again, I always say there's some great psychologists out there, great psychiatrists out there, some great medical doctors out there. But the fact is, the system of therapy is crucially flawed. And when you are simply working with your mind, you want to think that your mind is a machine feeding the ego. Your heart is the truth, the love that is feeding source. This is the reason why we always say get out of your head and into your heart, because if you're in your heart, you're going to do what your soul needs you to do. And what happens when you follow your soul? All the depression goes away, all the illnesses go away, and all of a sudden, we don't need therapists anymore, do we? Because we are centered and can go about and live our lives in health and love and do the things that our soul came here to do. Now, I told the story before that yes, I was for a period of time as an adjunct teacher. I popped in and filled in, I think it was a summer, for a lady who was on pregnancy leave. And those were the courses I was teaching: Introduction to Psychology and a couple other ones. And those got me nominated for Who's Who amongst American teachers. And the funny thing was, of course, the students adored me. I adored the students. And it was just the most amazing times to be able to watch people learn and get ideas. And of all new psychology students, when they come in and start to hear about the different disorders, the same thing happens. They think they have all of them. And you have to work through understanding what these mean, because sometimes a duck quacks, and it really was just a duck quacking. keeping that in mind, and also the other funny story is we were in the midst of a course and the head dean showed up into my class, very strict, very stringent, very methodical, very old school ruler, and came in and sat down. Of course, the entire mood of my class, we didn't know she was coming. The whole class mood changed. And all of a sudden, I was hustling in my brain to change the material because I knew that I couldn't tell the truth. I knew that I had to stick to the book. So for the first time, we're like pulling out the book and we're looking paragraph at paragraph, and everybody's all stressed out. And I go through the class and really toned it down because I knew it wouldn't be approved. But I couldn't help being myself. So, of course, I did say some things. And once again, good old me got hauled into, quote, the mentor's office. And the funniest thing happened. They wanted to give me a review. And I was thinking, oh, I won't make it through the summer. But I really wanted to make it through the summer because I had all these great students and I wasn't going to leave them. And so they called me in, and I knew I was going to get spoken to, and I knew that a review would be coming. And thank heavens, an emergency, nothing serious, came up for the person, the dean, who needed to speak to me and give me this review. And they were unable to do so. And I never got a review. I never got a spoken to. Of course, I did end up moving universities because I knew what was coming, but not until I got through all my classes with all my students and got them on their way. So remember, the most important thing always is to go back to the truth. Whatever course I was teaching, whatever patient I was working with, I always worked from my heart, and I was always listening to my guides because it was all about them and how to be able to put what you think is mentally aside to find the truth. And I am telling those two stories specifically because I'm going to drop some information in here about events and things that are going on in our current world that are going to be difficult for people to process. And in order for them to be able to process, they have to remember this is all a mind game. This is all playing out. And we need to deprogram our minds in order to be able to rise above and be the gift that we came here to be. So, cognitive dissonance, according to Psychology Today, and forgive me because I'm hopping between a couple little pieces. So it says the theory of cognitive dissonance proposes that people are adverse to inconsistencies within their own mind. It offers one explanation for why people sometimes make an effort to adjust their thinking when their own thoughts, words, or behaviors seem to clash with each other. When one learns new information that challenges a deeply held belief, for example, or acts in a way that seems to undercut a favorable self-image, that person may feel motivated to somehow resolve the negative feeling that results. So that's that feeling that they're getting in that's negative, to restore cognitive consonance, just to be able to put your mind back into understanding. Though a person may not always resolve cognitive dissonance, the response to it may range from ignoring the source, the person who tells the information. They ignore the person who's telling the information. Get it? Because they can't register it in their brain. All of you have been there, haven't you? And so those people you're telling the truth to, they just can't change their belief. They can't change their behavior. So they go back to their old way of thinking so that they don't have any conflict. And you see how we are caught up in that right now? That's exactly where we are. When I spoke about the fact that if you are not acknowledging the existence of ETs, you are doing yourself a disservice because you are literally limiting what source has gifted us. And for decades, hundreds of years, the reason we've been told there are no, quote, UFOs or ETs or any of those beings is because we needed to be controlled. But the fact is, we don't need to be controlled any longer because we can have harmonious relationships with our guides, with the ETs, with anybody we want, and we are not delusional. But how do you get that contact? The only way you can have that contact is if you go into your heart and you work on your spiritual being and your oneness with source and all of the guides. And it just hit 11:11. I just looked at it. We're with you. And so what's happening is when you go within, what happens? Nothing on the outside can control you. You can't be controlled by what other people tell you because you feel and know something is off. And when you know something is off, you research until your heart feels like it has the answer. Yes, that answer may only be a stepping stone. And all of a sudden, soul will push you to the next level and the next level and the next level. And you know where soul will push you? It will push you beyond duality. Why? Because the only reason we came down to this planet sphere is because we wanted to experience how that feels in a physical body, duality. But the minute that you realize duality is in religion, duality is in politics, duality is in anything that creates huge monetary gains when one has lost the heart soul behind it, that is old matrix, old duality. And we are simply here to rise above that. This is the reason why so many people are depressed. Depression is not cured by popping anything, being anything. Depression is instantly cured when your soul can tell the truth and move forward. And this is what we need to realize, because when we harmonize and unite, when we do not allow ourselves to be divided, when we do not allow ourselves to fall into the traps of what other people are doing, we automatically rise way beyond. And then we become a guide for others, and those guides become guides, and it becomes a harmonious, wonderful, loving relationship. Now, I'm going to go back to what Psychology Today said. Here's one of their examples. You got to love this. A man who learns that his eating habits raise his risk of illness feels the tension between his preferred behavior and the idea that he could be in danger. He might ease this feeling by telling himself that the health warning is exaggerated, or more productively by deciding to take action to change his behavior. Oh my goodness. So, what is being spoon-fed to you? They want you to actually, in some ways, not assess the risks of illness or tension, because a group will come in and tell you, oh, no, this is safe. I did it for hundreds of children because I'm trained that way. And instead of listening to yourself and going, oh, no, that doesn't work for me, and that does not work for my children, my nieces, my nephews, anyone. No way. Until you listen to your heart, you are still stuck in letting an outside source tell you what must be done. The only way to resolve this is to, again, drop into your heart, see what feels right to you, and little by little work your behavior so that it complements what your soul needs. Instead of eating those foods that have Senomyx, Senomyx, in them, which is fetal tissue, start to actually look at what brands are healthy. Remember, nothing's better than Mother Nature and no chemicals. So, both the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual and things like Psychology Today are all trying to normalize behavior. Well, in my pushing the boundaries, have I gotten through to you? Don't normalize anything. Go for the friggin' truth and do not stop, because we are on a roll. We are bringing in light like no others, and we need to keep going. So, another example they give is that, okay, where was that? If a woman reads that her favorite politician has done something immoral, she could conclude that the charges have been invented by his enemies, or instead rethink her support. Okay, guys, I can't make this up. What is that telling us? That is telling us, once again, they're giving us a little hint, a little warning. Who are these politicians? What have they actually done? Are we pushing it all under the carpeting because we couldn't believe that anybody could possibly do anything so sick, horrible, inhumane, terrible, and all the rest? And when we start to find out what has truly gone on in the 3D realm on the planet, people are not going to believe that it is true. When you find out, and I'm going to try to say it, that in HELL-ywood, those actors and actresses, which are no longer with us on this earth plane or planet, even though you think you see that you're seeing them, they did absolutely dine at the CANNIBAL restaurant. Go take a look, you'll find out what it is. And why did they do that? Because they sold their soul. And when you sell your soul, which is truly a real thing, you have to commit over and over a certain thing. All of them were involved. At one point, 2017, 2018, as I was trying to open people's minds and was telling them who people really were, everyone would write back, oh no, but not this person, right? Or not this person, or not that person. Yes, all of them, all of them. And if you think the politicians are human, if you think that there has never been a negative, quote, alien agenda that has run through our system for 50, 100 years, at least in politics, then you are not allowing the truth to sink in. But I completely understand. When it comes to these things, we hear them, and good, loving, kind humans are like, that couldn't possibly be true. There's no way anybody would do that. Well, one of the things about enlightenment is you understand that just as much light as there is healing, wonderment, joy, enlightenment, there has to be the opposite side. So the amount of sickness, perversity, horrible things that were done existed as well. And the only way to get above and beyond that is to rise above the fifth dimension. Any dimensions lower than that, you are going to have duality. And having duality, there is only one way to resolve it, is you integrate it You understand that you may have done that in some past life. You forgive yourself and those around you. You get to a 0 point of flow, and then you pop up into the higher dimensions. So that no longer affects you, which is the reason why many light workers now, for the last, I don't know, year or two, we don't even look to see what's going on in politics. This movie has gone on way too long. It needs to end. it's it's so far past reality. And in the end, as a sovereign being, why are you even looking to a politician to try to find out what answers they have? The world is not run that way any longer. You are creating your own universes. Step up, lead for others, get through, do things imagine the way you want things done. So, this cognitive dissonance, there is pre programming in it because people literally cannot believe that anybody would do those other things. Well, we need to wake up. We need to say no to being. We need to say yes that there are ETs. We need to just simply accept it, because the minute we, as a united sovereign group, accept it and let it go, it has to disappear. It can't survive. Depression cannot survive if your soul is going in the right direction. So now I'm going to talk about the first 11 distortions. So there's 11 again, where my favorite guys, Aaron Beck and David Burns, wrote this book called Feeling Good, The New Mood Therapy. And I haven't read it in years, but it's just one of my favorites because it really helps you if you need to get over the mental block. This is a great source. So number 1 is called all or nothing thinking, black and white thinking. So this is a distortion. A distortion, let me be clear, is false. It is inaccurate. It causes psychological damage. And it divides us. And you know what? We've all fallen prey to it. And some of us, numerous times, over and over and over again. And you know what? A huge portion of the population is still falling for it. This black and white thinking literally says, in extremes, that you have to believe you are either one or the other. You have to be perfect or you're a failure. Everything has to be in order or you can't function. This person has to be right about their political leader and you have to be wrong. Well, let me tell you, if you go to the extreme in anything you do, you will not be in the flow. You will not be in 0 point. So learn a little bit. Pay attention. Are you doing the black and white thinking? Now, number 2, overgeneralization. This one is so sneaky because it's like the person who overgeneralizes on negative thoughts. Oh my, I got a C on that exam. I'm a total failure. I'll never make it through. Let me drag everybody into my drama. I'll just never make it in this world. Well, yes, I'm exaggerating, and my heart does go out to those individuals who are stuck in that thinking. But that's a mode of thinking, and that mode of thinking will do nothing but bring you down. It will bring your vibrations down, which I will talk about one day, and it will serve you no purpose. So you have to move out of overgeneralization. Move yourself into facts, but those that are heart-based. Not pulling up 100,000 lies as to why this is correct and let me prove it to you in some sort of judge way. That's not helping anyone. It's what happens when people post on Facebook. It's what happens when people post on social media. They're just playing the game. I'll give you 100,000 reasons why I'm correct on this one. If we continue to do that, do you understand how we are contributing to mental disorders? Number 3, mental filter. This is very similar to overgeneralization, and it pretty much focuses on, let's say you have a romantic partner, right? And that romantic partner, says one negative thing to you. Well, let me think of one. Okay. That didn't work for you, did it? Let me think. Well, let's just say you're fat. A romantic partner turns around to you and says you're fat. And whether you're male or female, you get hurt. And when you get hurt, you then turn around and all of a sudden, you can't see anything else about that person. Worse than that, you can't see anything else about yourself. First of all, if a partner does not love you as you are, run as quickly as you can, because we all grow and then we shrink and we get old and we get young and then we walk off the planet, right? So the point is that if you reflect that back to yourself and that's all you can see in yourself, you are hurting yourself. Not only that, all of a sudden, let's say your partner said it and they happen to love you fat. That's the way you are best to them. And you still have a negative connotation to it. You dismiss everything else they said because of the fact they said that one statement. And that's a mental filter where you're bringing it all the way down to, well, then this person doesn't love me. That is damaging. That is not healthy. Number 4, disqualifying the positive. Literally, it's simple. You're somewhere, all these beautiful things are happening. Yes, it's cold outside, but it is a beautiful and glorious day. It's crisp and wonderful, and the wind is whipping over, and the lake has beautiful little waves going on. It's wonderful. Every little bit about my world is perfect right at this now moment. But the person knocks all that out and goes, it's cold, it's miserable. Life is horrible. Why does the weather have to be like this? You get what I mean? And you always want to pull yourself up and out of those vibrations. Number 5, jumping to conclusions, mind reading. This one, I have to tell you, this is something that is so common in relationships. It's where a wife or a husband, it doesn't matter, or a spouse, turns around and says, well, that person will remember our anniversary date, and I'm not going to remind them, because if they don't remember it, then it means they don't care. If they don't get a gift, then it means they don't care. If they don't do this, then it means that they don't care. And all of a sudden, they jump to the conclusion, well, they're not going to do anything anyway. And all of those jumpings are just mind manipulation games. And those games keep going and going and going. And they do no good for you. They do no good for the person that you care about. And therefore, you want to stop jumping to conclusions on anything until you've pulled back into your heart. You've looked at what every person has said. You decide which one resonates with you in your heart, and you follow your heart. The other part of jumping to conclusions, and then I'm going to stop there for today because this is getting very long, is something called fortune telling. Now, let me clarify. When you are connected to Source, you absolutely are heart-centered. You can pull in the past. You can pull in the present. You can pull in the now. So your heart will pretty much tell you so many things about the future. And you can decide if that's a future you want or if you need to start working on it to change that future. However, in the psychology field, this type of fortune telling is negative, and it refers to making conclusions and predictions based on like no evidence and holding them as if they're true. And I can tell you this, that if you predict that you're never going to find love, you won't get love. If you predict that all of your relationships are going to fail, they're going to fail. If you predict that nobody loves you, nobody is going to love you. So watch the words that you say. And I'm going to give another warning here. Everyone out there, and we have all done this, wanting to help other people. Everyone out there who is predicting which events are going to happen are closing themselves down and sticking to a timeline that is not of the highest and best. The only way to get to the highest and best is jumping over the duality and letting those timelines go, creating your new universe, spending time within, not letting others on the outside control you, your thoughts, or your actions. If we all went within and we did not seek confirmation, we did not play these mental games with ourselves and with others, we would change humanity in a split second because there would be nothing to attach to. I am asking you from the bottom of my heart, let go. Pay attention to these little wording games, these little mind games that you could get pulled into and trapped in without realizing it. They are hurting you. They are hurting humanity. Let them all go. The games of politics have already been decided. The games of religion have already been played. You are a direct connection to source. If you have a soul, and yes, there are individuals out there who do not have souls, I can tell you numerous times on some of the social medias when I mentioned to that, people come back and go, no, people have souls. Everybody has a soul. They're just separating from it. No. But do your research. You come to the answer that works for you. Understand that there are two sides, but if they're on the same coin and teaching the same old matrix lessons, they're not going to work in our new worlds. Many, many, many light workers are way beyond this and are out creating their new universes in loving, caring, healing ways. And I want everyone to seriously drop the programming. Don't hold on to illness anymore. Don't hold on to depression anymore. Don't even tell your body that's a possibility. I'm walking off this planet. I don't think death exists. I do not consent to lower realm games. I am not part of the matrix any longer. Because the truth is, you're not. You had a chance to let go. Keep going. Run, Forrest, run. I am sharing these truths. I know we only got up to 6, but I'm going to let it go for now. Let you digest what you can, get the point of it. That book, again, is Feeling Good, The New Mood Therapy. You can buy it anywhere. I think just a little section in the center of it has the full list of all the distortions. I probably will come back to this. I don't know when. But again, I just want you to understand that there is so much more out there. There are more universes. You are a multidimensional being. There is no reason to have any fractal or any part in pain, any part attached to the old matrix or the old programming. And if we all simply said, I end it right at the end of this video, I will no longer play. The only way to win is not to play. If we all did that at this exact second, our world would change before we could blink. I am doing this because I love you and that I want people to move into the higher dimensions as quickly as possible because I want you to thrive. You no longer need to be a victim. What makes you a victim? Only you holding on to the thought that you are separate from source. You are not. Live your life knowing you are way more than you ever thought. You are loved more than you know. Call in those angels, call in that star family, call in and really start to work with the energies. We are quantum healing, quantum leaping, quantum moving through and into joyous times. Drop and finally let go of the fact that miracles don't exist, because they do. They're happening all around me. Miraculous healing, second by second. What a joy that is if you could see the world from what I see, because I worked so hard to get here and I had to let go of everything once, twice, three times. And we are all constantly evolving. Letting go means no attachments, moving on, setting yourself free, and moving on to the next part of the best of the best. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. If you like these messages, please go through and hit like and subscribe, because you know I always forget to say that. Come join us over here on the channel, the 111s. We're here. And I look forward to hearing from you.